So much for his plan. Agamemnon took his seat, and Nestor rose among them. Noble Nestor, the king of Pylos' sandy harbor, spoke and urged them on with all good will. Friends, lords of the Argives, O my captains, if any other Achaean had told us of this dream, we'd call it false and turn our backs upon it. But look, the man who saw it has every claim to be the best, the bravest Achaean we can field. Come, see if we can arm the Achaeans for assault. And out he marched, leading the way from council. The rest sprang to their feet, the sceptred kings obeyed the great field marshal. Rank and file streamed behind, and rushed like swarms of bees pouring out of a rocky hollow, burst on endless burst, bunched in clusters, seething over the first spring blooms, dark hordes swirling into the air, this way, that way. So the many armed platoons from the ships and tents came marching on, close file, along the deep wide beach to crowd the meeting grounds. And rumor, Zeus's crier, like wildfire blazing among them, whipped them on. The troops assembled, the meeting ground shook, the earth groaned and rumbled under the huge weight as soldiers took positions, the whole place in uproar. 9 heralds shouted out, trying to keep some order. Quiet, battalions, silence, hear your royal kings. The men were forced to their seats, marshaled into ranks. The shouting died away. Silence. King Agamemnon rose to his feet, raising high in hand the scepter Hephaestus made with all his strength and skill. Hephaestus gave it to Cronus' son, Father Zeus, and Zeus gave it to Hermes, the giant-killing guide, and Hermes gave it to Pelops, that fine charioteer. Pelops gave it to Atreus, marshal of fighting men, who died and passed it on to Thyestes, rich in flocks, and he in turn bestowed it on Agamemnon, to bear on high as he ruled his many islands and lorded mainland Argos. Now, leaning his weight upon that kingly scepter, Atrides declared his will to all Achaea's armies. Friends, fighting Danaans, aids in arms of Ares, Cronus' son has trapped me in madness, blinding ruin. Zeus is a harsh, cruel god. He vowed to me long ago, he bowed his head that I should never embark for home till I had brought the walls of Ilium crashing down. But now I see he only plotted brutal treachery. Now he commands me back to Argos in disgrace, whole regiments of my men destroyed in battle. So it must please his overweening heart, who knows? Father Zeus has lopped the crowns of 1,000 cities, true, and Zeus will lop still more. His power is too great. What humiliation, even for generations still to come, to learn that Achaean armies so strong, so vast, fought a futile war. We are still fighting it, no end in sight, and battling forces we outnumber by far. Say that Trojans and Argives both agreed to swear a truce, to seal their oaths in blood, and opposing sides were tallied out in full. Count one by one the Trojans who live in Troy, but count our Achaeans out by 10-man squads, and each squad pick a Trojan to pour its wine. Many Achaean tens would lack their steward then. That's how far we outnumber them, I'd say, Achaeans to Trojans, the men who hail from Troy at least. But they have allies called from countless cities, fighters brandishing spears who block my way, who throw me far off course, thwarting my will to plunder Ilium's rugged walls. And now 9 years of almighty Zeus have marched by, our ship timbers rot and the cables snap and fray, and across the sea our wives and helpless children wait in the halls, wait for our return. And our work drags on, unfinished as always, hopeless, the labor of war that brought us here to Troy. So come, follow my orders, all obey me now, cut and run, sail home to the fatherland we love, we'll never take the broad streets of Troy. Testing his men, but he only made the spirit race inside their chests, all the rank and file who'd never heard his plan. And the whole assembly surged like big waves at sea, the Icarian sea, when east and south winds drive it on, blasting down in force from the clouds of Father Zeus, or when the west wind shakes the deep-standing grain with hurricane gusts that flatten down the stalks. So the massed assembly of troops was shaken now. They cried in alarm and charged toward the ships, and the dust went whirling up from under rushing feet as the men jostled back and forth, shouting orders. Grapple the ships, drag them down to the bright sea, clean out the launching channels. Shrill shouts hitting the heavens, fighters racing for home, knocking the blocks out underneath the hulls. And now they might have won their journey home, the men of Argos fighting the will of fate, yes, if Hera had not alerted Athena. Inconceivable! Child of Zeus, whose battle shield is thunder, tireless one, Athena, what, is this the way? All the Argives flying home to their fatherland, sailing over the sea's broad back, leaving Priam and all the men of Troy a trophy to glory over, Helen of Argos, Helen for whom so many Argives lost their lives in Troy, far from native land. Go, range the ranks of Achaeans armed in bronze. With your winning words, hold back each man you find. Don't let them haul their rolling ships to sea.